first, we want to start with President Trump changing the subject for the moment from North Korea to more attacks of the Senate's top Republican. In a new tweet he sent out just moments ago, the president posted, quote, "Can you believe that Mitch McConnell, who has screamed repeal and replace for 7 years, couldn't get it done, must repeal and replace Obamacare?" A little backstory first, Casey. We were talking about this in our last hour, but also, why do you think President Trump is choosing this moment to hammer this issue? Is it just a response to McConnell's comment the other night?
Well, McConnell did, when he was back at home, say that, look, the president is new to this and had excessive expectations about how fast this could happen. But, and we were talking about this earlier, the president has a point here, I think, on repealing and replacing Obamacare. This is something that Republican leadership was out early in the year saying, look, we're gonna finish this by the summer at the very latest. And, quite frankly, they built their entire agenda around this, not just health care, but they were going to use what happened in health care to finance what they were going to do with tax reform. They, essentially set them up like dominoes, and then they didn't actually hit the first domino here. That's as much on them as it is on the president. Now, that said, this relationship between the president and Mitch McConnell, and frankly, the Republicans in the Senate and how they feel about the president, between his approval rating, the Russia investigation, their own nervousness about their reelection prospects, that's all contributing here.
And Sam, voters didn't just send Donald Trump to Washington to repeal and replace Obamacare. They sent many Senate Republicans and House Republicans. This was at the core of the promise that these people made last year. So Donald Trump probably feels like he's got voters on his side in this one. And
he should. Like we said in the last block, Mitch McConnell, the rest of the Republicans, it's a 7-year promise. And then upon winning the White House, upon keeping a Senate majority, upon keeping the House majority, they explicitly said, we're going to move quickly on this. No, I almost got there. I mean, it's kind of remarkable in a way how close they got, considering how much they all hated the bill they were voting on. But they didn't. And Trump is absolutely within his rights to say, I didn't have excessive expectations. You made a 7-year promise and you didn't fulfill it.
The one other issue I would say, though, for the president here is that he never said exactly what it was he wanted. He was looking for, when he says repeal and replace Obamacare, he was looking for a win. He was back and forth on what the policy would be.
Sure.
He couldn't sell it in private.
Sure, but the very plans.
Not to cut Medicaid on
But
the
listen, if
trail.
you look at it, if you step back, the very plans that Congress voted on when Obama was president were voted upon again when Trump was president. And suddenly the real world consequences became very clear, and they backed away. And everyone knew that that was going to happen. If you were a rational human being, you knew that would happen, but they kept promising, they kept doing these show votes, and it ended up biting them.
So Glenn,
excuse me, to your point though, Sam, I mean, he's elected as Republican president of the United States, and he's got the Senate Majority Leader, Mitch McConnell, he's got the House Speaker, Paul Ryan, who both have been saying for 7 years, we've got a plan to replace Obama.
Not just saying, voting on plans that the President Obama vetoes. Why should Donald Trump think otherwise?
The secret was they all thought Donald Trump was going to lose the election.
Yes, exactly.
Pat Toomey said that out loud at a town hall a couple months ago. We didn't think the president was going to run, so we didn't think we were going to have to govern. We could keep taking these opposition votes. Turns out, governing a little trickier.
So Glenn, are these attacks on Mitch McConnell a personal response from the president to the comments that McConnell made a couple of days ago in Kentucky at that town hall meeting? Or is this a strategy to try to put health care back on the table and to get the Senate to go back in and repeal and replace somehow?
I don't think this is a strategy. I would humbly say. I feel like I read 15,000 pages of Robert Caro for nothing, right? It's like, apparently all you have to do is just tweet nasty stuff about Mitch McConnell. Look, the president will not have a legacy if he can't move things through a Republican Senate. He has a substantial majority. It's likely to decrease over the next, in the next cycle. We also have a situation in the House where he hasn't really been able to get stuff done. Remember, one of the reasons he wanted to get Reince Priebus out of the White House is because it was Priebus and Paul Ryan, the Speaker, who came up with this sequencing plan everyone is talking about. Look, I think in order to have anything resembling a legacy, he's got to have a decent relationship with Mitch McConnell. If this were part of a larger strategy of kind of moving McConnell in the right direction, I'd say good idea. But the president, as I think Casey said, had no interest in the details of the health care plan, did not impress senators with his knowledge of anything in these meetings, and seems to be just throwing stuff against the wall and seeing what'll stick.
Thanks for checking out MSNBC on YouTube, and make sure you subscribe to stay up to date on the day's biggest stories. And you can click on any of the videos around us to watch more from Morning Joe and MSNBC. Thanks so much for watching.